Welcome to the NLP Talks podcast, bringing you inspirational stories along with a good dose of potentially life-changing NLP strategies. I'm Laura Evans, multi-award-winning NLP trainer, and I'm on a mission to help you unleash your potential in business and life. I'm so glad you're here. Pull up a chair, listen in, and let's get started on revealing more about this transformational NLP toolkit. Welcome back to the NLP Talks podcast with me, Laura Evans. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you'll know that this podcast has always been about NLP, communication, mindset, personal growth, transformation, and I either interview our existing students or give you insights into a particular NLP topic. But for this series, I'm taking over my own podcast. Weird, I know, bear with. So you will know me for my NLP training, and that's within Unleash Your Potential Limited. You can check that all out at unleashyourpotential.org.uk. But I also have a second business called Laura Evans Coaching and Mentoring Limited, which you can also check out on the lauraevans.co.uk, and that's probably new news to some of you. In that business, I often will be found supporting people to start and scale businesses, and I help people right across the spectrum of the people helping industry. So yes, NLP and coaching is where I end up getting quite a few of my coaching clients from, but actually I've helped a personal stylist, I've helped an accountant, and recently we've had a Reiki master who wants to grow their training business. So actually that business is much wider than just NLP. And I've been asked numerous times over the years, Laura, you've built a £1.5 million business. You have built your business over a decade from scratch. I'd like to do what you're doing, and I'd love you to share some tips with me so that I can get started. And guess what? That's exactly what this series is going to be all about. It's about helping you get the inside track to starting, building, and scaling a people helping business. Here, we're not just going to be talking about NLP. Of course, I'm going to bring it in because why would I not? It's not really going to be about coaching skills either. There are plenty of other podcasts that are out there that can help you with coaching skills. This is the podcast series for you if you want to take the steps of building a successful coaching, therapy, or training business that actually works. The inspiration is going to come, of course, from the Confident Coach Business Academy. Easy for me to say, where I'm supporting those people. But you see, here's the real thing that no one tells you. You can buy any course you like, any modality, hypnotherapy, Reiki, tapping, you name it. You can buy a course that gives you the skills for the modality. But if you want to make an income from that modality, that is only half of the equation. You see, my view is that your ability to earn income and to set up a business is actually much more dependent on your business education than it is what modality you train in. You see, no one in my coaching business has ever come to me and said, Laura, please can you do X modality? Instead, whatever modality you like. What they do is clients come to me and say, Laura, I have this problem. Can you help me? And have you done it before? They are the questions that I get asked all the time. And so actually, it's not about the modality that you've been trained in. It's about your ability to set up a successful business, to sell yourself and your services. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what this series is going to be around. So we're going to start at the very beginning here with the first episode. Right at the very beginning, and we need to start off by thinking about, is coaching really for you? Is setting up your own business really for you? Or do you just like the idea of it? This is going to be a deep dive episode that's going to challenge your thinking before you've even started. And if you've already started on the journey, it's okay. All is not lost, because you're going to learn some real nuggets from these episodes that are going to help you put the right foundations in place to help you to build and scale your business. So I can't wait to get started. Let's jump right in. People start to consider the possibility of setting up a people helping business for a whole array of different reasons, whether it is coaching, therapy, or some kind of training business. Usually the thread that holds all of us together as a community is a real inbuilt desire to want to make a difference and want to be able to help other people. The idea that we are fascinated by human behaviour, that we are really keen to help other people overcome challenges and realise their dreams. This is all great stuff and has led you to this point. Perhaps one of the reasons you're looking at setting up a business is because you want to do something that feels more on purpose for you. Maybe you're bored of what you're currently doing, or frazzled and thinking, oh my goodness, there's got to be more to life than this. I know after 14 years in HR, that question absolutely went through my mind when I was setting up my business. Maybe you're after the freedom and the flexibility, or the impact which you can create. You see, freedom and flexibility is great. Today's Monday and I'm recording this on a Monday afternoon, but at 9 o'clock this morning I went and had my nails done. Couldn't have done that when I was back in paid employment. And so there is a real empowerment side to running your own business, that you are not lining the pockets of some shareholder who you'll never meet, or having to implement strategies and programs that you just don't believe in. If you're a senior or middle manager in an organization, you'll know just what that feels like. And yes, there is an element of freedom and flexibility. But I'd also caveat by saying I've never worked harder than when I went self-employed. Still to this day, you'll often find me working late at night, but that's not to say that I'm working 20 out of 24 hours. Couldn't do that now. What it does mean is I'm working flexibly and I'm doing what's right for me, so I can take the dogs for a walk on a sunny afternoon if that's what I want. But the deal I do with myself is that means I'm going to have to work this evening, and I'm okay with that because of the freedom and the flexibility that being self-employed affords me. If you are fed up of being tied to other people's calendars, then being self-employed allows you to break free from that. And that's really cool. Perhaps you're wanting to look at setting up a business because of that impact and the fact that you want to make a difference. And all of these reasons are very common reasons that have probably led you to listening to this podcast in the first place. But let's get really clear on something. Just because you love a modality, or just because you love helping other people, that doesn't necessarily mean that setting up your own business doing this is what's right for you. It's a bit like loving fitness and then deciding to open a gym, or loving food and then deciding to run a restaurant. Not saying that you can't, you can, but are you ready for the responsibility and the demands that come when you start to turn a passion or a calling into a business? Passion is what gets you started, but your business education is what keeps you going. I know that firsthand. I came out of the corporate world in HR full of passion and enthusiasm, and I was working crazy hours to get my first business off the ground. But I very quickly realized that running a small business is very different to being a senior manager in corporate land. For example, back in corporate land, as I call it, if I had a problem with my computer, I'd ring IT. If I needed to make a payment, I'd speak to someone in finance. But when you go self-employed, you wear a whole multitude of hats, because when your computer doesn't work, you're asking yourself what you need to do. It's really important that you get a business education, and this is the part that most people skip. They get enthusiastic about the modality that they are passionate about. They are passionate about wanting to help other people and don't realize that it's important to spend money on your business education. Here's the truth. I have spent more money on my business education than I did on the modalities which I am trained in. Now, obviously, you all know me for NLP, and yes, I've spent good money learning those skills, but actually in my coaching business, I'm also trained in other modalities too. So I've spent a lot of money learning, and I am a lifelong learner, like I know many of you, our podcast listeners, are, but I've still spent more on my business education, because here's the thing. You have to earn the right to do the thing that you love. One of my very first business mentors taught me that. When I became an NLP trainer, I remember a conversation with him one day, and he said, Laura, people are not just going to rock up in your training room because they want to learn NLP. You are going to have to do a series of things to A, let them know you're there, B, make sure they understand what it is that you offer, C, make sure you're the right person that they actually want to sit in front of for 7 days. There is so many steps to marketing, to getting your message out there. We're going to do an episode later in the series all about marketing, and so I'm going to give you some really helpful stuff around that. You've then got to get confident in asking for the sale and actually promoting yourself and your business. And to many people, that's really icky. I remember it. I used to think the same too. Like, why would anybody want to buy from me? And I started to have to realize that I needed those modalities I had trained in to help myself to start and scale a business. My internal dialogue back at the beginning was not what I would want any of you to have heard. The internal dialogue of, I don't think I can do this. This is too difficult. Will I have time? What will people think of me? In fact, I know what my family thought of me when I first set up my business. They thought I was crazy, bugging mad. Why would you leave a senior role in the corporate world with a really lovely regular income to go self-employed? It's risky. And they would list all of the fears. And I know all of that came from a place of love. They all wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision for me, that I had thought this through thoroughly. And I'm sure, depending on where you are in your journey, if you're at that stage now, I bet you there's people around you having similar conversations with you. What I can tell you is how I de-risked this transition to becoming self-employed was investing in my business education. I needed to paddle my own boat. I needed to know what levers to pull to get people to consider working with me and consider investing in themselves. Because let's be honest, that's what's really going on with businesses in the people helping industry. We're helping people to realize that they are worth more, that they are worth investing in, and helping them to change their outlook about understanding what makes them tick and supporting them to make the changes that they need to make. So it's really interesting when you start to think about, what does it really take to run a successful business? Now, there are many, many people out there that have fallen into running a business. I see lots of people playing at running businesses. What do I mean by that? So they fall in love with this idea of all of the perks I've already discussed, and they go, yes, I want that, I want that, I want that. But they don't realize the determination and tenacity which is needed to run a successful business, because you've got to be emotionally mature enough to know that there are going to be times when things are just not going to work out well. I call them speed bumps in the road to success. You are going to have to persist. You are going to have to be able to dust yourself off and pick yourself up and go again. Because I can tell you that if I had not dusted myself off the very first time I hit a speed bump in the road, this business wouldn't be here. None of my businesses would be here. And so you need tenacity and determination to push through these setbacks and these challenges, and not to expect it to be easy all the time, because it's really not. You absolutely need to think about, are you really up for this? Are you up for the easy days and the tough days? Don't get me wrong, as a people helping expert, we all know the joy it brings us when we see somebody succeed, we see them change, we see the light bulb go off in their head. We live for that feeling that we get when we've played a part in helping someone else to realize their potential and achieve more. We live for that feeling. But the problem is this: you've got to be willing to invest in your business education. You've got to be willing to deal with the business setbacks that will surely come. And are you ready for that? That's the question. I love being self-employed. That's why I've done it for, over 12 years now. I absolutely love it. But I am prepared to dust myself off. I am prepared to push hard. Some people are really naive when they go into this industry, because they go, oh, I'll just do a coaching qualification, I'll become an ICF coach, or I'll become a hypnotherapist, or I'll get qualified in tapping, or I'll get qualified in NLP, and these clients are just going to rock up at my door. It doesn't work like that. It has never worked like that. You can't just become proficient at something overnight or by reading a book. I joke when I'm talking to my clients in my coaching business, it doesn't matter how many times you read the 4-hour working week or whatever that book is called, I can tell you now, I've never got anywhere near that. But I don't mind, because I love what I do. So here's the question you need to consider. Are you going to play at this, or are you ready to do the work and make the investment that's going to help you to build a successful business? One of the clients that I have worked with has built a very successful coaching business, and he is willing to do the graft. He is willing to sacrifice time on the weekend. He is willing to put himself out there, to become visible, to do a podcast, to build a YouTube channel, to go on speaking opportunities and all of those things. Has he always found it easy? No, but he's got the tenacity and determination to push through, and he's got his mindset toolkit that he can use for himself, and of course he's got me as a mentor. So being able to be there at the backstop where he can come and say, look, I've got this public speaking opportunity, my mindset's not in the right place, Laura, can you help? That is valuable stuff. Now, I appreciate you can't all have me as a mentor. To be fair, I wouldn't have enough hours in the day, given that we've had, I don't know how many tens of thousands of downloads of this podcast. But the point is this: who's in your corner? Who's in your business corner? Who is it that you can rely on? Do you have a group of peers? Do you have business mentor? Do you have expertise that you can pull from? And if that's me, great. And if it's not, that's also great. But you need somebody that can help you, because what you don't want to do is do what I see so many people doing in so many industries, and that is create what I call a hobby business. Now, what I mean by a hobby business is somebody that falls in love with the idea, is willing to invest in the modality that they want to do, but just not willing to go there when it comes to business education. I remember talking to a student in our NLP training business years ago now. I really, really, really want to invest in the setting up a successful business, because that's really what I want to do, but I don't want to do the sales stuff. And I said, well, I'm curious, what makes you say that you don't want to do the sales stuff? And she said, oh, it terrifies me. I just want to set up a successful business. Because here's the thing, if you set up a successful business and are not in a position to sell yourself, you will be the best kept secret ever. So you need both. And so it's little insights like this that people sit there and go, yeah, you're right. Now, right now, listen to this podcast, you might go, oh my Lord, Laura, that terrifies me. The thought of saying to somebody, would you like to go ahead with this? Or the thought of being visible on a camera or visible on a podcast, couldn't do that. That's because you've still got mindset blocks to shift. And we're going to talk in one of the other episodes about the entrepreneur's mindset, a concept which I talk about in many of the trainings that's going to help you to start to move beyond some of these limitations that you've placed on yourself. Now, again, depending on what modality you've trained in, if it's NLP, I'm guessing it probably is given you're here, then you know that in our toolkit, we've got belief change processes. We've got ways to help people get over some of these memories from the past that might be playing on their mind. And so as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you've got to be willing to do the inner work yourself. You've got to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone, to stretch yourself, and to work on your own mindset, and to work on your own challenges as they come up. Because sat here right now, you're going, oh my God, the passion, the excitement, the flexibility, the freedom. Oh, Laura, I can't wait. And it's great as long as you go into this with your eyes open. You can go in and be excited and go, do you know what? I've got the tenacity, I've got the determination, and I'm up for this. Like, I really want to make a difference in the world. I want to get to the point of being able to be discovered. I want to get to the point of being able to, be found by other people. And as long as you're willing to step outside your comfort zone and willing to do the work, then there's no reason why you can't have the kind of success success that I've had because I've just embraced all of the things that I've been talking about. I sound a little bit like I'm trying to put you off it, and I'm really not, because I think this world absolutely needs more people like us out there. I just want you to go into this with your eyes open. I want you to go into this really understanding what it takes to build a successful business that's going to make profit. Now, again, depending on where you are on your sales journey, just let me give you the headline 101 of the accountancy stuff, which is this. You're going to have a sales line. So the sales line is going to be the money that you take, the products and services that you sell. You're then going to have a cost of sale. So that's the costs that go into the delivery of that product or service. So if I'm, for example, selling a £500 coaching package, then a cost of sale might be the hire of the meeting room, or the hire or the cost of the Zoom facilities that I'm using, printing and so on, right? So these would be costs of sale. And when you take a very high level, the sales line from the cost of sales line, you will be left with profit. Now, there are then ongoing business costs. That's for another episode. But essentially, you can only pay yourself if you make profit. And this is, again, where lots of people in this industry go wrong, because they go, yes, but I just want to help people, Laura. If I give my services away for £50 or £10, then that's my prerogative. It absolutely is. That's one of the blessings of being self-employed. You get to decide your price point. You get to decide what you're going to be worth in the marketplace. That's your prerogative. But my question to you is, have you done the maths here at a very high level? And is this business going to be able to give you the kind of income that you want? And how much income is it that you want from this business? Are you looking to create a sideline part-time income? That's how I started my coaching business, doing a little bit on the weekends and in the evenings around my job. Or are you ultimately looking to put what I call a flight plan together that takes you from where you are now to potentially replacing your current income? Or is it somewhere in the middle? Like, have you done the maths? Have you sat down? I remember, this is going back years now, when I worked at the bank, and I remember talking to a consultant who I hugely respected, who had been self-employed for many years. And I remember his pearls of wisdom that he gave me when I was talking about leaving HR and setting up my own business and all the inherent nerves and apprehension that comes with that. And he said, Laura, I'm going to give you two pearls of wisdom that I was given many years ago by someone else. And that is this: get yourself educated. Obviously, we're talking here about educated in modalities and educated in business. So get educated, and then work out how much money you need to survive for 6 months. None of the luxuries, but keep the roof over your head, the fuel in the car, the heating on, and so forth. Work out what you need for 6 months. And when you've squirreled that away, jump. And you'll be surprised how quickly your parachute opens. And if it doesn't open, in 6 months' time, your skill set will not be that far out of date. You can just come back to HR and you can get another job and you'll be fine. And that was the kind of pearls of wisdom and courage that I needed to hear in that moment. I had a plan. I'd invested in my education. I knew the basics of setting up this business. I knew the modalities I'd been trained in. Like, I'd done all of that. And the risk was that I just kept investing in more and more modalities. And let me tell you, I have seen this time and time again. People come into this industry and they go, yes, one more modality, just one more modality, just one more modality. And they think that just one more modality is the missing piece of the jigsaw. I'm telling you now, it's not. The missing piece of the jigsaw is probably your business education, not another modality. And so I sat there having had these pearls of wisdom thinking, I've got my NLP. That is what I had been trained in. I'm good at it. Had the effort and time to become proficient at it. I was good at it. I felt I had a calling at it. I ticked all those boxes I said at the very beginning. Like, I've got all of this. And here's another pearl of wisdom I was given by someone else, is know there'll never be a right time. And that's always stuck in my head. Now, please don't think for a second I'm encouraging you to take uncalculated risks. I'm absolutely not. You've got to really think this through. But there's always a reason not to do it. And that has also stuck in my head over the years I've been running my businesses. There's always a reason not to do it. You see, again, another mentor and coach of mine, I've had so many over the years, always said to me, do you know what, Laura? The easiest person to lie to is yourself. because you will always find the evidence in your environment to back up the story you're telling yourself. We learn this in NLP, right? And so the easiest person to lie to is me. I'm not ready. I need more qualifications. I need more trainings. I need the new fancy technique that's the new kid on the block. I need all of that. The truth is you don't. The truth is that you need a modality that you're passionate about, that you become proficient in, and you have a methodology that you believe will be able to help the kinds of clients that you want to help. And that's the truth. Then you need to invest in your business education so that you get good at building a business and selling the modality that you're great at. Resist the temptation, my friends, to go out there and go another modality, another modality, another modality, another modality, because I can tell you, you'll spend the rest of your life going just one more modality, just one more modality. And they are all great. And so much of what happens in this personal development space and coaching space is a rehash of ancient wisdom. And so you have to really stop and ask yourself, if you are going to invest in another modality, what gap in your toolkit is it fixing or plugging? Let me give an example. So we get quite a lot of what I call executive and leadership coaches that come and do NLP with us in the Unleash Your Potential business. And just like me, they come to NLP because they feel like there's a gap in their toolkit. A lot of coaching is coaching that is about conversation, and it's about helping people to think about what they want to do differently and make decisions and all of those great things. But actually, I knew in my toolkit there was an underlying gap, which was I couldn't help people achieve what I felt was true behavioral change. This idea that human beings are actually living their lives on autopilot, and unless we change the autopilot, we can sit here session after session talking logically about what the client wants to do, but not a lot really changes. Progress is slow, it's a bit sticky. And so I knew that I had a gap in my toolkit. And NLP filled that for me when I was back in my corporate role. Now, I fell in love with it so much, I became a trainer in it, as you all know, and obviously train other people in it now. That's fine. I'm not against any of that. That's good. That's healthy. That's a good business decision. But just adding more and more modalities, I've seen far too many people go out of business before they've even started their business because they've run out of cash. Cash is the lifeblood of any business. And so you've really got to really think about not just training in a modality, but also making sure you invest in your business education. I want the people that come and work with me to succeed and to thrive, because have a look in the country where you live and try and find some stats about how many businesses fail. Because when I last looked here in the UK, only about 33% of businesses survive at the 2-year point. That's shocking. 33% of businesses survive at the 2-year point. Now, that's old data. It's probably changed a little bit. And like I say, do check in the country where you're listening. But the truth is that lots of people have a passion and a drive and an enthusiasm to want to make a difference and fall at the first hurdle because they don't invest in their business education. Right, ran over. Move on to the next topic, Laura. So the reality of working for yourself. So here's an interesting idea, because we love the idea of the freedom, right? That's why we do what we do and become self-employed. And everybody is attracted to that. You can set your own hours. You can design your own week. You don't have to answer to a boss. You can get your nails done at 9 o'clock on a Monday like I did today. But here's the other side of it. There's no guaranteed salary. There's no sick pay, well, depending on the country that you're in, but unlikely. No one is creating the structure for you. You see, that's what a job description gives you in the employment world. It gives you here's the lines of the rugby pitch, to use a rugby analogy. You choose how you play on the rugby pitch, but actually, here's the box you need to stay within. That's what a job description does, right? In a company. There's now no structure if you're self-employed. No one is telling you what to focus on, and if you have a bit of a scatterbrain like me, then it's very easy to have 6 things all on the go at once and never actually finish anything. And so all of these things need to be taken into consideration. They're all manageable. So for example, the fact there's no guaranteed salary or no sick pay, I worked out how much money I needed to have in the bank in order to cover me if I'd had a month or 2 with no sales at all. Now obviously that's not our aim, but the reality is I wanted the peace of mind of knowing that actually if nothing came through the front door and nobody bought from me, that I could still pay my mortgage, that I could still pay for my car, I could still feed myself. And I worked up. Now you need to work out what that figure is for you. For me, the figure was £10,000, right? And so some of you're probably going, oh my God, I couldn't possibly. But I worked up to that over a period of time. Right, so bear in mind, I've been doing this over 12 years now, and so my buffer is what I've got now. But actually, when I first started, my buffer was £500. Then my buffer was £1,000, and I worked up to that over time. But I needed that peace of mind for myself to know that if nothing came through the front door, as in I didn't make any sales and there was no cash coming in, I knew that I'd be okay. So again, that's something that you'll need to think about and you'll need to work towards. And maybe your first little buffer is £100, and then it's £500, and that's really what gives you that peace of mind. You see, the way to prevent that scenario from happening is to get skilled in visibility, to get skilled in consistency, to get skilled in building your resilience and understanding how to run your business. And let me tell you, nothing's nicer than being able to take a dividend out of a business, knowing that in the corporate world, that would have gone to a shareholder that you will never, ever meet. The trade-off is so powerful between the freedom and the flexibility and being able to really help people. Now, let's move on. And the next thing I want to talk about in this episode is the confidence myth. Now, we're going to come back and have a look at this in a bit more detail later in the series. You see, the thing is, if you just are waiting until I feel more confident, whether that's another course or whatever, you'll be always waiting. It isn't a pill you can take. It isn't something you wake up with one night. Obviously, I'm going to say the first thing that you need to do is sort out your mindset. You need to challenge those limiting beliefs that you have. You need to get yourself in a more resourceful state emotionally. You need to be able to reframe these setbacks that might happen. All of this is NLP stuff in case you're not up to speed. The truth is we all have inner work that needs to do. I've been in this industry a long time. I still am work in progress, and you will be too. So the key here is, okay, what strategy are you going to put in place to help you to feel more confident, or rather reframed as confident enough to start? That's the key. Know that you will make mistakes. Give yourself a little bit of slack. Okay, get yourself a good business education so that you don't make the obvious mistakes. That's what, training like the training what I offer, addresses. But I always say to people, you're still going to make mistakes. You're just going to make smarter mistakes, right? So this is the strategy that you need to put in place so that you feel confident enough to make a start, okay? I can tell you the joy and the spring you have in your step when you make that first sale. It's just phenomenal. You'll probably end up framing the invoice that you gave to somebody. And that was the day I started to help other people. It's so exciting. And there are so many ways that you can really, start to move this forward. I'm excited for you, particularly because you're just listening to this podcast. I think you should give yourself a pat on the back for having sat here and listened to this episode as far as you have. It tells me that you're serious about setting up a successful business. It tells me that you're not in the camp with most of the people I see in our industry that go, I just want a modality and now I'm disappointed no one's buying. You're not in that camp because you're here learning and listening, and you're curious to take advantage of the knowledge of someone like me that's just further down the track that you want to travel than you currently are. You're at the start line and I'm a little bit way down the track. I'm still not at the end, right? But being able to take advantage of someone else's experience, take advantage of the mistakes they've made. In the training, we have a course called Inside Track, which is our starter course if you're looking to start your business education. And in that, I talk about the year where I wasted £5,000 on Facebook ads. Yes, £5,000 wasted on Facebook ads. It did not give me a single sale. Now, you can sit there and be disappointed and think, oh my God, that's £5,000. What else could I have spent that £5,000 on? Or you can sit there and go, okay, we need to learn from this. What is it that we need to do differently? And let me tell you, there were a ton of learnings which I took, which meant that I never made that mistake again. That's the kind of thing you've got to be prepared for, not wasting £5,000, absolutely not. But you've got to be able to allow yourself the resilience to go, do you know what, I'm going to make mistakes and I'm okay with that. Fail small and move forward fast. Right? That's the kind of the deal. So this was kind of your little introduction. So a few things I'd like to just talk about before we wrap off for this episode. Number one, I have created a PDF, which is a PDF that poses the question, is coaching really for you? It provides you with a series of questions that you can sit and consider honestly over a cup of tea with a pen yourself, wherever you do your best reflective work, and really think about, am I going into this with my eyes open? And if you are, cracking, then come and join us and come and help in the people helping industry, because oh my goodness, there are so many people right now that are out there looking for help. So yeah, it's just a great time to be in a position to really make a difference for people, and I'll never get bored of that feeling. So you need to take that enthusiasm and that passion which you have, and then kind of put your business hat on, if you like, and sit there and go, okay, so I've got the passion, the enthusiasm, I want to do it, I'm aware of all of these things, Laura, but let me just hit the pause button for a minute and really sit on my own without the influence of anybody else and think, is this really what I want? And if it is, I am so excited for you. And the PDF I've created is designed to help your thinking with that. You're going to find a link to this PDF on the page for this podcast episode on nlptalks.com. So go to nlptalks.com, find the page for this episode. You'll find it at the bottom of the homepage if you're listening to this early in 2026 when I'm recording this. So you'll find it towards the bottom of the page. Find this episode. On there you'll find the link, download the PDF and go through it and let me know, like email me, okay? I really want to hear from people, and I really want to know that this episode is making a difference regardless of your modality. You know, am I prepared to learn the business skills as seriously as I invest in my coaching skills? This is a key question. Am I willing to be visible? Am I ready for this? Or am I willing to learn how? Can I take responsibility for generating an income and providing my own structure and my own ways of working? Am I ready for that? If there's no clients in 3 months, are you going to quit, or are you going to adjust and reframe and step forward? These answers are key things to consider. Okay, so go check out the Is Coaching Really For Me PDF. Go to nlptalks.com and download that. If you want to contact me directly, then the email address in this business is info@thelauraevans.co.uk. So info@thelauraevans.co.uk. And you've heard me mention the Confident Coach Business Academy a couple of times. If you're interested to find out a little bit more, go find the Confident Coach Business Academy page. Go check out Inside Track. And then if you would like to invest in that and you'd like to learn more from me, then just email us info@thelauraevans.co.uk. Now, if you are listening to this in February and March of 2026, there are currently offers available on these programs. So contact us for the current deal that's available and we will gladly share that with you. If you are listening to this podcast episode at any other time, then do go to thelauraevans.co.uk and go to the Confident Coach Business Academy, find Inside Track, and then email us and say, guys, are there any offers available at the moment? And we will gladly tell you more about it. If you're listening and you're serious about building this properly, then get in touch. Make sure you tell us that you heard it on the podcast so that we know that if there's an offer available, we know to let you have it. And yeah, it would be amazing to help you to grow your business and to help you help more people. That's where we're all at, right? So moving on to the next episode, which will be out very shortly, we're going to be talking about qualifications don't pay the bills. So we're going to go deeper into this concept, which I've introduced, that qualifications don't pay the bills. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to catching you on the next episode.